right, everyone, it's about 4 past the hour, so we'll get going here. Hope you've had a chance to kind of get in and get settled. Hi, my name is Allison Gross, and I have the privilege of taking care of our community and our partners here at Zapier. And today we're really excited to have a chat with the folks over from Batchbook, which is an awesome CRM that is connected to Zapier. So Ray from Batchbook is joining us today. How's it going, Ray?
Hi, everybody. It's going great.
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so Ray's in Miami, I'm in Nashville. The rest of you are probably scattered all over the world, so welcome. Before we get going here, just one little quick housekeeping note. If you scroll down the page that you're currently on, you'll see there's a chat box there. And my buddy Joe Stike from Zapier, is one of my Zapier teammates, is there manning the chat room. So any questions that you have while we're going through things, Joe can answer those for you. And then we'll stick around once the session is over in the chat room for as long as we need to make sure we get everyone's questions answered. So anything you need anytime, just pop that in there, and Joe will make sure that we get you taken care of. So with that all being said, Ray, I thought it'd be good if maybe we kick things off by if you could just give us just a quick synopsis of what Batchbook is, if folks aren't familiar, and maybe one or two cool things that they might not know about it, even if they are familiar.
Excellent. So it is a small business CRM. We are a light version of some of the bigger enterprise type software such as Salesforce. Light is in a couple of ways. One is that our functionality is a lot simpler, less complex, easier to use right out of the box. And the other way is that we're a lot less expensive. That's because small businesses don't have the same budgets as larger enterprise sized companies. So really easy to use out of the box. You don't need any help from IT to implement it within your team. And I think my favorite thing of it all is that it connects to so many other applications to help bring all of these different sources of data into one place where you can look at it, slice it, dice it, and then feed it back out to other applications.
Awesome. So I know that, as we have been talking, as Ray and I have been talking through a couple of things, we noticed, we identified a couple of really sort of important case studies or stories that we could share about how other people are maybe connecting Batchbook to other apps that they use every day via Zapier. And what Zapier can do is kind of help you bridge the gap between Batchbook and some of the other apps that we're talking about today. So, we know that, especially as it relates to CRMs, when you're building relationships and working with people, the most important thing is to focus on that and spend less time doing those sort of tedious tasks like moving data around. And that's where Zapier can help. So Ray and I are going to talk through a couple of these sort of good use cases today, maybe help get the wheels turning, give you a couple of ideas on ways that you might be able to maybe automate some of your data, or maybe give you another idea to ways that you can even expand that if you are doing that already. So I'm going to share my screen here again, and we'll kind of hop into a couple of these stories. The first thing that I'd love to talk about, Ray, is forms. So I know forms are such a versatile thing in the world. You can basically put a form anywhere on the web you can think of. What are some cool ways that you've seen people, as it relates to Batchbook, like using forms to collect data and automate that data?
Well, a lot of businesses have websites, and having forms that on that website that help you either generate a lead or add somebody to your newsletter list or your community or whatnot, that's a great way of utilizing a form on your website. And having that information come directly into Batchbook, where you can now catalog it and then take action on it, is one of the simplest ways to take your first step into automating your business. Getting those leads directly into your CRM so that you can then take action on them without having to input any data at all is, I think, the first wow. So we've got folks that do everything from take sales online, leads, like I said, to folks that need, like for instance, we've got a customer who is a tailor, and his form is all sizes, measurements, inseam, collar, all that good stuff. So he's got a very simple web form on his site that he asks his clients to fill out, that then that all of that data gets logged into Batchbook, so that whenever that customer calls back and says, hey, I need a shirt, I need another suit, he has all those measurements right there in his Batchbook account.
That's an awesome example. I think that just goes to show you just how robust a form can be. And really, no matter what it is that you do, there's a way to, create a form and collect just about any type of information, and then automatically funnel it into Batchbook to have that information at your fingertips. So it's one less thing that you have to worry about. So if we look at this as it relates to actually setting up the automation, I just want to show you just kind of the ins and outs of how this works. You can see how simple it is, and it's something that you can just quickly set up, and all you have to do is once it's set up, you never have to worry about it again. So if we go back to the example of the tailor, he could set up this automation just one time, and then anytime anyone filled out his form with all of that information, those form entries would automatically populate into Batchbook without him having to do a thing. So he doesn't have to spend all of that extra time doing that by hand or worrying that he's getting the right information in. So this is what that looks like as it relates to Zapier. So in Zapier, we're looking at what we call like a one-to-one connection. So this in particular is what we overall call a Zap. So a Zap is that connection from one app, and we're going to send that data to the other app. So in this specific instance, we're saying anytime anyone fills out my form, my Wufoo form, I'm automatically going to create a person in Batchbook. And it's very, very simple to set up. You just need to make that selection here. So if we take one step back from here, the real key thing is to think of, okay, what data do I have and where do I want that to go? So you just need to think, when one thing happens, I want this other action to happen. So we have that selected. We know that when someone fills out our form, we want it to automatically create a person in Batchbook. And when we scroll down the page here, there's just a couple of sort of housekeeping things to set up. Steps 2 and 3 would be connecting your account. So we obviously need to know which form account we're going to look at and which Batchbook account we're going to send that data to. And then when it relates to forms, we need to know, okay, what form exactly are we going to look at? So we can look at one specific form, and then every time that form is filled out, we can then, again, create that person in Batchbook. So we've selected the form here, and in fact, the form that I've selected is the form that everyone filled out to attend today. What we're doing is exactly how this whole session kind of was set up to run. So anytime you filled out a form, or anyone fills out a form, that information could automatically be sent over to Batchbook. And all you have to do is click on Insert Fields here, and that's going to pull all of the information from my form. So for email address, for example, all I need to do is click on Insert Fields, go to email address, and now that email address that I've collected in Wufoo is going to automatically populate the email field in Batchbook. And you can set that up for all the fields that you see here. You just need to have corresponding fields on your form that match up to the fields you have in Batchbook. And then when you click on Insert Fields there, you can just match the two up, and you're good to go. So now anytime anyone fills out your form, whether you're gathering leads, you're gathering sales, all the way down to our tailor gathering clothing sizes, that is going to automatically create that new person in Batchbook. And you're not necessarily beholden to Wufoo, so to speak. If you use any other type of form out there, chances are that Zapier connects to it. So here's all the form types that we connect to. So type forms, gravity forms, jot form. If you're using Google Forms, you can just connect Google Sheets, which is where all of your answers end up, and then you can send that over. So that's very simple. Unbounce if you're building landing pages, Ninja Forms, Cognito Forms. The list kind of goes on and on here. So don't let the app itself deter you from setting up the automation. Anything that you see here, you can do that and let Zapier do all the heavy lifting for you. So that's forms. Ray, the second thing that I wanted to talk about is something that I think is really important and probably something that might casually be overlooked in sort of the hustle and bustle of doing your own sales. And that is, connecting your e-commerce software to your CRM. You have any insights on that?
Yeah, so imagine being able to take all of your transactional data from your e-commerce store, attach that to customers, and then start slicing and dicing segments out of it. Let me give you an example. So let's say you've got a customer, folks that have already bought from you. You've got extra inventory of red high-heeled shoes, my favorite. So what you do is you go into Batchbook, you take a look at everybody who's bought high-heel shoes before, and then you could create a list to send them your special for your red high-heeled shoe inventory that you have a lot of. That is very easy to do utilizing an integration like this Zap between Gumroad and Batchbook. Gumroad is an e-commerce platform, and you can pull all of that information, contact information, transactional information, and bring that into Batchbook, and then be able to have much more context around the customer, especially if they're calling in for customer service, let's say. Don't treat them just like any other Joe. Understand what their buying habits have been before. Have they bought anything from you in the past? Are they one of your best customers? Do you need to turn them into one of your best customers? All of that data that's in your e-commerce platform living in Batchbook now becomes actionable. And that's really the key to these Zaps, is getting data out of existing applications and into Batchbook, where you can attach other information to it as well, and then do more with it.
Yeah, that's a great example. I think even going one step sort of higher than that, so to speak, and that's really to the point of, anytime anyone buys anything from you, creating them in your CRM so you have records of that. So you're not just constantly searching across all your different applications. Did Joe Smith buy X from me? I don't know. I don't have any way of knowing that. And if you connect your e-commerce software to your CRM, you can automatically answer that question. So as it relates to Zapier, again, this is very, very simple. The mechanism and mechanics are all the same. We're just saying, it's a different thing. So instead of when someone fills out a form, we create a person in Batchbook. This is actually when someone buys something from us, we create that person. But like I said, the setup is exactly the same. We just get our e-commerce account connected, our Batchbook account connected. In certain instances, we might have to pick a specific product to look at. So when we look at Gumroad, for example, we're only going to trigger off of maybe when someone purchases a specific thing. So when someone buys our free hug, so to speak, that's who we will send over into Batchbook. And then much like the Wufoo example we were just looking at, when you click on insert fields here, you can match up that person's data. So you can say who they are, what their email address is, what they purchased from you, and that will automatically create that person over in Batchbook. So again, same theory, just different application. So instead of collecting our leads and our other information that we might be gathering from a form, this is instead, we're going to say, when someone purchases my product, I then want to create them in my CRM. And the same thing also goes for the app, right? So we were looking at Gumroad, which is actually a really, really great e-commerce app, but there's plenty of others out there that Zapier connects to. So if you use Shopify or Magento or Chargeify or WooCommerce or any of these awesome apps that you see here, we have some that are even coming soon, like Ecwid and Magentrix. So there's we're always adding to the Zapier platform as well. Anything you see here, you can use. So you can say, when someone buys something from my Chargeify store, for example, I want to send that over. I want to create a person in Batchbook, so I always have their information. So very, very handy and easy thing to do. And again, like I said, I think probably a pretty overlooked step in the e-commerce world, and that is, creating rich records of what your customers are buying so you can take even better care of them.
And also think about it, it's much more expensive to go and develop a new customer than to get an existing customer to buy from you again. And that's where kind of the power of bringing that e-commerce transactional data, hey, this person has bought from me. And now you could start making lists that you could send out emails to, that you could do outbound call campaigns to, that you could do a direct mail piece to. It just helps you grow your business by doing more with what you've already have.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So we have been talking, Ray and I, about how to get data into Batchbook. But there's another way to automate data as it relates to Batchbook, and that's actually getting data out of Batchbook and sending it elsewhere. And I think one really popular way to do this would be using information, or people that you create in your CRM, and then automatically creating subscribers in your email marketing platform. And Ray, I'm sure that you guys have seen people do some really creative things with this.
Yeah, so let's go back to the high-heeled example. I'm sitting on a batch of red high heels, and I want to sell those. I go into Batchbook, I take a look at who's bought high heels from me before, I segment a list, and I could send that directly from Batchbook to Campaign Monitor or to any other email service provider that you're currently using, so that you can launch that email campaign. That is going full circle with Batchbook, getting data in through forms, through e-commerce, segmenting that data for marketing purposes, and then uploading it to another application that you're going to use to execute your marketing campaign, whether that's an email service provider like Campaign Monitor, or social, or even direct mail. Getting that data out is almost as important as getting it in.
Yeah. And I think, once again, even if we kind of take a step back from segmentation or anything like that, anyone that you add to your CRM is most likely in some way, shape, or form going to be someone that is worth you continuing that relationship with, right? Like you're most likely not going to be adding people to your CRM willy-nilly. They're going to be people who you care about, who you want to build a relationship with, who, good customers, good users, that type of thing. So with that being said, if we look at this from an automation standpoint, you can easily connect the dots between Batchbook and your email marketing platform, say Campaign Monitor, and have them work together so you don't have to worry about it. So in this instance, what we're looking at here, anytime a new person is created in Batchbook, I'm going to automatically send them to or add them as a subscriber in my email marketing platform. And one easy thing that you can do here that's great is, you can actually filter down on data. So we can only, trigger when a certain type of person comes through, anything like that. And then even better than that, when we move them, or add them, I guess I should say, over to your email marketing platform, you can even segment that down to a specific list. So you can see here with Campaign Monitor, I could send only certain people that I create in Batchbook over to a specific list. So you can really sort of segment out the people that you want to be on a certain list. Maybe they have purchased something from you, or, maybe however you want to sort them. There could be a specific thing that maybe that you added to them in Batchbook for, and you can easily then say, okay, I want this specific person to go to this specific list, and you can set up as many of these automations as you like, so you can really fully segment down and say, anytime I create someone in Batchbook with a specific thing on their account, a specific field that's filled out, a specific, something that relates to my business, I want them to go onto this specific list in Campaign Monitor or maybe any sort of email marketing platform that you use. And then once again, you can just click on insert fields here, match up their email address and their name. They're automatically going to go over to your email marketing platform, and you never have to worry about that again. So you can get really segmented lists. Like Ray said, leads coming in, maybe they fit certain criteria, and we can create them in Batchbook, and then we can straight from there add them to our email marketing platform. So with just spending a couple of minutes doing this, you can have that full cycle automation set up, and you can go about doing what you need to do and let the computers kind of do that sort of menial, tedious work for you that you never have to worry about.
Just a quick example. A quick example of this is if you've got a website and you're looking to drive leads from your website, you would set up a form where folks could fill out their information, name, maybe what product they're interested in, and their email address. And you can envision that flowing right from your website through that web form into Batchbook, where then Batchbook is going to automatically send an email out using Campaign Monitor because you've automated this entire process. So now you've got this lead that comes into your site that says, hey, I'm interested in information, and you are automatically sending them out that email. When your sales rep gets back to their Batchbook account, they see that a lead was generated and that email was already sent out. So now you've got a super warm lead that's got all sorts of information about your company already on their side. It's a good time now to call them, right, and close the deal.
Yeah.
That's just one simple example of a true marketing automation loop that can be created with Zapier. A lot of companies, marketing automation companies, charge hundreds, if not thousands, on a monthly basis to give you this functionality. And Zapier brings it to you at a very, very low cost.
Yeah, and that same sort of automation flow can really be applied to just about anything that you're doing. It doesn't even necessarily have to be sales, but whatever it is, chances are that you're collecting data in some way, and you need to get it to several different apps. And a CRM should, no matter what you're doing, should be a really big part of that. So it's a great sort of life cycle that you can set up in just a couple of simple automations and use Batchbook as sort of the core of all that. And I know that we were talking about Campaign Monitor here in our sort of email example, but we connect to a ton of different, just like anything else. Zapier at the moment connects to over 500 apps. I believe we're about 512 right now. So just about anything out there that you use, chances are we're connected to it. So in the email marketing world, that's everything from ActiveCampaign to Aweber to Emma to Mad Mimi to Campaign Monitor. So lots and lots in there to do. Before we kind of sign off here, got a little big. There we go. Just wanted to throw out my contact information. So if you have any questions about anything, I'm sure Joe has been taking care of you in the chat room, but if something comes up at a later point, this is my contact information. So that's my email address, my Twitter handle. Contact@zapier.com actually goes to our entire team, and we are now at just about 24-hour support. So anyone on the Zapier team that's around can answer those questions for you anytime, but you're also more than welcome to email me as well. And Ray, how can folks find you guys over at Batchbook?
So you can visit our website, batchbook.com, or you could always email me, ray@batchblue.com, or you could find me online as well at @rbonajaya.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ray, for doing this. Any final words you want to kind of to add in here before we go?
I think if you're new to automation, try it once. Your life will be better because of it. If you're not new to automation, you already know exactly what I'm talking about.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us. If you're out there and you're not familiar with Batchbook, You should check it out. Just a really great CRM. And like Ray said in the beginning, you know, for most people, you just need something simple and easy to gather and collect and keep that information on those contacts that you have, those relationships that you need to build. So it's a very, very good way to do that. And adding a little automation on the top of that can really give you so much time back in your day. So thank you, Ray, so much for joining us. And like I said earlier, yeah, and if anyone has any questions still, we'll hang around in the chat room for as long as we need to. Otherwise, you can reach out to us later. But otherwise, we'll chat soon. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.